Today I am joined by Little Red Riding Hood, or Hope Bolinger. Why are you dressed as Little Red today?
So we had an event on campus that was fairy tale themed, so I thought I would get in the spirit.
So you may recognize Hope's name from earlier this summer when I mentioned her book is coming out. It's called Den. And when is it coming out again?
June 3rd.
Okay, mark your calendars, June 3rd. If you want to go watch the video that I mentioned it in, it's up there. Go find the link. How did you get the idea for Den? Where did you get your ideas and what sparked it?
Sure. So at Taylor, we have a gen ed class we have to take called Biblet 1, where you basically read through the whole Old Testament in one semester, which is 39 books. So one of those books was the book of Daniel. And so obviously we're flying through this material, but as our teacher was talking about Daniel, this guy who was basically kidnapped and taken to a foreign country, she mentioned that he was a teenager. And that was crazy to me. It kind of just struck me when I was sitting there in class, like, wow, this kid would have been 15, and here he is being thrust into a culture that's completely different than anything he's ever been used to. They're trying to basically get rid of any identity he had in his other culture and try to assimilate him to this new place, and he and a handful of friends are able to stand up and not be forced into some of those norms. And that was incredible to me, because I don't remember when I was a teenager, I don't know if I would have been strong enough to, not fall under that pressure. So I just was fascinated by that and decided what would that look like now in a high school setting.
How did that come to be? Like, were you just writing one day and you're like, yes, let's try this? Or were you just daydreaming and you're like, let's put him in high school?
Yeah, I mean, because he was 15 at the time, so I think I had a couple false starts with that. I tried writing a few first chapters that just wasn't working. Nothing really seemed to click a proper storyline until the summer going into my sophomore year. That's when I started to work on it. But before then, I was about ready to scrap it. Even my best friend, who I'd sent a sample chapter to, hated it, and he loves everything I wrote. So so I was thinking it was going to be just kind of a done thing, but I decided to just try it out, try to finish it, and do it in that summer.
So, I mean, you wrote this book mostly while you were in college.
Yeah.
And you got a book contract. And what did that path look like? How did you do that in college?
Yeah, great question. So I wrote it during the summer going into my sophomore year. So I was working 3 jobs. Wow. I was working at a literary agency, a publishing company, and Kohl's. So just kind of basically whenever there was any spare time, I tried to get a chapter in. I think I wrote the thing in about 45 days. So I tried to... for me, it's a weird metaphor, but I equate writing a book to kind of giving birth. I kind of just have to get it out on paper. It kind of burns up inside of me until it's out. So I just try to get it out during that time. As for getting a contract, that was kind of all over the place. The publishing company that I interned with, I noticed they had a lot of similarities to the book I was writing and the stuff they were looking for. So I just pitched it to that editor, and they took it to pub board, and then they asked for a full, but they were realizing it needed some more edits before they would take further consideration. So we did several rounds of that, and then finally they thought it was good for publication. So I sent it to them in November for pub board, and then they accepted it in May.
Yay.
So yeah.
So from November to May, you were in classes. What did your schedule look like? How did you find the time to write? Because I know that's something that a lot of writers struggle with.
Oh gosh, I mean, definitely throwing away a lot of social life, for sure. I mean, just kind of finding a spare hour each day to either make an edit or to cut an entire section that you really liked but wasn't working for the plot. It's hard because a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'm going to write when I have time, or I'm going to edit the book when I finally have a free hour, but the thing is you just kind of have to carve it out intentionally. Maybe that time was going to be spent, I don't know, watching a show, or maybe reading a book, which read books, but maybe just taking that time or getting up an hour earlier or staying up an hour later, just finding that time.
This is a very exciting time for you.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's also a little bit terrifying because your baby is going out into the world.
Yes.
What are you most scared for?
Oh gosh, besides everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, besides everything.
I mean, I think it could go one of two ways. The first thing I'm really scared about is just that no one's going to read it. That, you know, it comes out and everyone's like, what is that? I don't know. And then it just kind of, I mean, that's definitely a really big fear because a lot of times how your debut does can set the kind of track record for your publishing career. So definitely nervous about that for sure. But I think on the opposite side, I'm really worried it's just going to get a lot of bad feedback. It does it kind of pushes a lot of boundaries, especially in Christian fiction. So I'm just kind of worried that it's going to get a lot of feedback just because I don't stray away from tackling hard stuff. And so I feel like a lot of times even I'll see similar books and then we'll have Amazon reviews. People say, is this person even Christian? There was drinking in this. I'm like, oh boy, Den is going to do really bad then. Just because it's set in a high school and there's a lot of hard stuff that happens during high school. A lot of shady stuff can go down. So those would probably be the two biggest fears.
Well, and as readers and as book reviewers, what you can do to help authors starting out is do read the books, share them with your friends, especially if you like them, and leave reviews on Goodreads, on Amazon. It's one of the best ways that you can possibly help an author that you want to help. And I mean, it means that you could make friends with that author, and it's just really fun because someday you might be able to say, hi, I met you, or I'm meeting you now, and you're signing this book that I love. And they're like, oh, you wrote that review of this book that helps it sell. So it's really helpful. So you talked about what you're scared of, but what are you most excited for?
I mean, I'm just so excited to see it. A physical book in your hands. This has been a dream of mine since I started writing novels when I was 16. I didn't ever think it was going to happen. There are just a lot of roadblocks that came along the way. I just thought I should give up writing. I shouldn't keep going. So I think it's just that's possible, that you can accomplish your dreams and being able to encourage other writers too. I'm excited about everything.
Yeah.
I'm scared about everything, but I mean, I'm so excited because I've fallen in love with these characters. They're all hilarious. And I'm just excited for people to meet them.
Yeah. So what were some of those Redbox? How did you get through them? A lot of people start to question their abilities to do something the farther and closer they get to a dream.
Yeah.
So how did you get through those Redbox for yourself?
For sure. I think one of the biggest ones was actually just depression. I get hit pretty hard with depression and anxiety. It's kind of like a little bit of a tennis match back and forth. So I think what's really important is to have a support system, whether it's a friend or a family member, just someone who really believes in your writing, being able to help you through. That one best friend who I talked about earlier, he helped me get through. A lot of times I come to him whenever I feel like I'm going to give up, and he says, no, that's stupid, keep writing, which is helpful. So I think that was helpful. I mean, just getting an agent in general was an interesting process just because as an agent now, I can understand why it's so hard, but just getting an agent or getting that third edit back from Pubboard and thinking, oh man, like they must hate it. They're not going to take it if I send them another terrible edit. So yeah, just kind of I think a lot of the roadblocks were definitely in my mind, but they still felt really real.
So going back to where you are now, you're graduating college really soon. What are your next steps? Like, what does that look like? What does the immediate future hold for Hope Bolinger?
Great question. I wish there was a great answer. So currently going to continue working as literary agent, going to continue shopping around some books. We have a couple that are at that Pubboard stage. I'm really hopeful they go through, and then figuring out what that next piece is, whether it's content writing of some sort or editorial, or who knows, maybe I'll be working at a theme park, who knows, I'll just find
It's all writing material, right?
Oh, for sure. So I don't know where the Lord's leading me, but just wherever he's leading, I'm sure it's going to be best.
What can we expect from Den? I mean, it's high school drama. It's
right.
Based on the book of Daniel, but is it like comedic? Is it dramatic? Is it sword fighting? Like, probably not because it's in high school, but you never know.
I mean, I would say it's definitely a mixture. A lot of fire, so if anyone is a pyromaniac, this book is for you. There's definitely a lot of humor. The main character likes to crack a lot of jokes whenever he enters a serious situation because he doesn't really know how to handle it, which is not always good. I mean, there's a lot of really hard stuff. There's some hardcore bullying that happens in the book. There's a literal murderer running around, so
Well, that's fun.
Always fun. So I would say it's a good combination of both. I love to write comedy, but a lot of times crazy stuff happens during that too. So. For sure, if you just want a high school drama set in a boarding school, this is for you.
All right, so now you know what to expect from Den. Is there any chance that you would have a sequel in the works? Or have you thought about it? Have you dreamt about it? Have you started writing one?
Yeah, so I wrote one, and they're going to present it to Pub Board when the book comes out. So depending on how the book does will determine whether or not they take on the sequel, which, is also equally intense. For sure, but yeah, so it's hopefully that'll come out in the future as well. Nice. It's supposed to be a trilogy, so it's based on the Book of Daniel, and it's taking like different chapters. So, Fiery Furnace is kind of 1 through 3 is kind of where the first book is. Lion's Den is the second one, and then all the trippy stuff that happens at the tail end is the third one. Okay, I'm very curious what you're going to do with the trippy stuff in the tail end. I'm curious too. We're going to find out.
Because most theologians don't know what to do with the trippy stuff at the third end.
Yep.
So what's some advice that you have for other writers as, you know, I mean, I'm a writer. I work on my own novels, and a lot of my friends are writers, and most of the people watching are probably writers. So what advice would you give us? Because you're living the dream, or about to be.
I mean, I just never give up. Never, ever give up. That if you have an idea that's burning inside of you that you have to get on that no other book has, keep going. You're going to hit roadblocks. We've talked to so many different authors who got hundreds of rejection slips before they ever had anyone take it on, but it's worth it.
How many rejection slips did you get for this?
Oh, gosh. I mean, for this specifically, only a handful because we only shopped it around to a couple places. But, I mean, overall, I've definitely tried with several books. This was the, 14th book I ever wrote. I mean, there was a number of them I tried querying before. I want to say I've gotten several hundred rejection slips over time from various writing projects. So,
there's hope.
There's hope.
There's hope.
But,
and there's hope.
Just never, ever give up. Keep going. If it seems like it's most dire, you're probably really close.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to add about anything that you're most excited for? Are you doing book tours? Are you going to do, like, signings?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to have a blog tour where I'm going to be visiting about 3 different blogs in the month of May. So I'll make sure to post that. I can put some social media handles out there to be able to find those.
We can link those down here, and you know, when this blog tour happens, make sure that you're following my social media because I'll probably be sharing it on Twitter and Facebook especially.
Yeah, I mean, we have about 16 confirmed endorsers right now, and then working on just getting some book signings set up and maybe going to a couple schools in the Northeast Ohio area.
Fun. All right. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you, and I'm so glad that I could interview you on my channel.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. This has been fun. Make sure that you go follow Hope and stay tuned for anything else that she's doing because I have a really good feeling that she's going to do really big things.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe to Jory's fantastic channel, and if you want to also support her on Patreon,
it's as little as $3 a month. There's a link down below. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.